All right, so we're here with Jacob Mason, the candidate for District 6, who's a Democrat. And so tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from, and how long have you lived in District 6, Sacramento?
Okay, yeah, I've been in District 6. I moved 3 times. I'm just in the process of moving for the 3rd time. I got here 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So December of 2014. And then they raised my rent about, it was like $865 a month, and they raised it up to, I think, $1,200 about after 1 year per month. So I took off out of there, and then my neighbor was getting evicted, and I was leaving. It was a whole mess, and you know, and I just got a condominium in the area that I'm moving to. So I'll probably be there for ever, you know, because it's pretty cheap. So it seems like a good place to be.
Nice.
Just stay there.
And how do you like Sacramento?
It's good, yeah. Just running for office, people are always saying all these bad things about it, but I've been a lot of places. I actually thought Detroit was lovely. I spent a lot of time in Detroit, so I think I might have low standards because people are always hating on Detroit. I'm like, I was there, 8 Mile, it's great. What happened with that movie? I don't know, you know, but maybe gentrification over time, but
So why did you end up moving to Sacramento from Maine?
Well, I moved to Florida, and I just didn't mesh with the Floridians, and there were all these insects, and it was just, you know, I'm not really as much of an environmentalist. Like, I was like, can they kill these bugs? They were just swarms. It was like a tropical love bug swarm. It was like almost like that movie The Birds, but with love bugs, and you just get, it was you'd have to see it really to believe it, but I didn't take pictures of that. But and then, you know, I'd be driving my car, and you'd have the entire car was covered in insects, and it was just all sorts of issues there. Some issues with law enforcement being huge dinks, and warnings were given, and I didn't like what they were, you know. Law enforcement of all races. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a race. There actually have a lot of different people in law enforcement.
What made you want to run for Senate?
Okay, well, I was going to run for district supervisor against Susan Peters, I believe is her name, in District 3 for the district supervisors, and which is where I'm just moving out of there. And I'd been over near Arden, which was Hurley Way, and I was in her spot, and I saw a candidate had tried to run against her, and he lost by like 20 points, and you know, I was like, well, he was saying a lot of things that I would never want to say. Like, there was a question, I think I was the only person who watched, they had a debate, it was on YouTube, it's on YouTube. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just not the carbon copy of this other guy. Like, he's a Democrat, he got the endorsement, I would probably not get the endorsement, you know what I mean? But there's some question about, oh, there's a housing development of 10,000 houses in the debate, something like these lines. And what do? He's like, don't let them build it because of the water shortage. And I was just like, bring some desalinized water, do something. Build all the houses. There's a housing crisis. What are you talking about, man? So I'm trying to be friendly with the guy, but he still hasn't sent me a friend request. So you don't want to be so friendly if they don't want to be friends. You know what I mean? So maybe if you sent me that request, I wouldn't have said that. But you know, I was just talking with him today. I was like apologizing because I was dissing him on the internet, and I don't think he knew that I had dissed him on the internet, so it probably revealed that something had, some diss had occurred that he maybe never read in the first place, but.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
I work at a place called Gutter Glove. Basically, it's a trade secret, so I can't like reveal how the product is created, but there's, you know, man magic where like a bunch of guys create the product. If for some reason it's always like guys doing the creating in a lot of factories. They put the women over in the sales.
And you were saying heavy labor.
I'd rather be in sales, honestly. That is a big issue with that job, is that they don't seem to want to put me over in this where, you know, aside from just coming to them and saying, I quit, put me in sales. I mean, I can't make it too much more obvious that I'd rather be over there, so. But yeah, right now that's what I'm doing, but it's not, great. So I have a Class A trucking license, and I could maybe get back into that, trucking, but.
And did anybody finance your candidacy when you had to pay the fee? Did somebody pay that for you, or did you end up paying for that?
I haven't received a single donation. I tried to get my friend Andrew to donate money, and this was the closest I got to getting a donation. He's like, I'll send you a check, and I knew he wasn't going to do it, and I don't think he ever sent. He was like, oh, the internet, I don't want to send money over the internet because of hacking or scams, and I was like, but it's Act Blue, and Bernie Sanders used it, and he's like, I'll send you a check, and I knew he wasn't going to do it. So somebody claimed there, I think you bought a shirt, but I didn't get any money from it.
Right.
I set the prices so low because they're still high because the shipping is like probably $20, right? So
yeah.
I mean, if you didn't set the price that low, it would be a horrible deal. It's already a pretty bad deal. Yeah. But good advertising. So thanks for buying the shirt.
Yeah,
but that was, it's mainly just me spending money and having a good time. Right. So it's a good hobby. I mean, there's more expensive things you can do with your time, for sure.
And how much did it cost to run?
It was $1,060 to get on the ballot, but I mean, you don't have to get on the ballot. You could be like Bennett for Senate. He's not on the ballot.
He's not on the ballot.
He's still running.
Yeah.
Is he still running?
So he says.
Right?
I heard Austin blocked you on Facebook. What happened there?
There's this Democrat, and he got onto my Facebook, and I actually took copies. His name is Jacob, and wow, the guy is wow, how in the world did he get on the ballot? It's like there should be some criteria.
I think I was like, so I went to trucking school, here's the phone number if you want to verify. And I was just like, done.
He was done at that point.
Yeah, I think because I was trying to convert his people over. I just had, I get, if anybody messages me, I actually do talk to them, and I'm like, can you stop messaging me? Because it's like a personality flaw. I should stop before they stop, so.
Right.
Luckily, not a lot of people have interest in messaging me, but when they do, it's, and then Austin, it must have been like 100 messages later, it's just hours of, no, you gotta, so he eventually shut that down.
Right, yeah.
So, I do have a second Facebook, though, if I wanted to check out what he was doing, but I haven't really been like, oh, I'm going to go on and do any, I'm not going to be like, surprise, I have a second Facebook and I'm posting again.
Right.
So that's more like the lurking one.
Right.
For these purposes, it's not going to be like, I'm officially here with my second Facebook. No. But block me again, I dare you. Well, you don't know how many I have.
Are you a fan of Senator Pans? Have you been following his work very much?
On my website it says, he voted for the minimum wage increase. I agree with that. So some of the things he does, mainly where he's voting for somebody else's stuff, I agreed with the vote. Or like, he's done I think he did work on the 3-day of sick leave for the state, which I like that. So I'm not going to come out and say I am opposite of him. I mean, it's always entertaining to be like, he is Hitler because look at Hitler and look at the crowds and the, whatever. I mean, I was going to think about making that kind of metaphor and be like, well, I can't draw a crowd, but he draws a crowd and Hitler drew a crowd and whatever. But, as you can say that about any number of people, but you know what I mean? However, I don't really like certain issues, but unfortunately those are the issues that a lot of them, the Democratic Party is right behind them, and this is why I've gotten no endorsements at all, so like
so Pam's got them all locked up.
I don't know if he's gotten any other than from the Democratic Party. He claimed on his site that he had gotten that one, I believe it. I mean, I haven't seen the Democratic Party really touting that. I don't think he's, you know, they're mostly, you know, let's talk about Noah Phillips or people who don't have $1 million to put mailers out, you know, that need to maybe call people to call for them. So I think Pan could just pay people to call for him. He doesn't need volunteers to make those calls.
Have you seen any Pan signs around?
I've never, no. All I've seen are Jacob Mason signs.
Nice.
Yeah, but because I'm checking on them, you know what I mean? So
right, making sure they're not being uprooted.
Yeah, 2 of them did get uprooted. I think by the lawn crew, but.
Can you explain the pictures on the sign and the thinking behind it?
Okay, well, I only had one color.
Yeah.
So I didn't know. I don't know if so. I was assuming. Oh, wait a second. White is a color, so I have to use a transparent background. Okay, so I photoshopped this design up myself. Low budget, you know, I have Photoshop, I have a computer. Although, I should say my computer, because I just moved, I gotta like get back on that because I've been lazy, and now I'm only on my phone. And I gotta like edit my website and do things on the computer, like pick it up and start using it. But yeah, basically the background on the shirt design is transparent. So that's why I put that one. And then I added, let's see, the website, Creative Commons, I went on there and I was looking for a donkey head, and then I found one, but I had to erase all the colors, and that's the donkey head.
He looks a little angry. Is he angry?
He looks like kind of like a rat or something, but somebody drew it and put it on the Creative Commons, so that was, because I had actually paid to get somebody to do a donkey, but it was like an 8-day order, so that was, and the thing is, if you had any color, that would be more money. So I was trying to get a one color design to save money and on the printing of the signs. So, and then the coffee cup is just straight out of the Creative Commons. I didn't do anything to that. And then I just wrote in the words.
What's the symbolism behind the coffee cup?
I guess the donkey likes coffee.
That works.
And just whatever you wanted. I thought maybe people would look at it because they would think I was offering them free coffee and kind of, oh, is this someone promoting coffee? I'm thirsty. So it just catch their eye on the street, you know what I mean? Right. So, well, and you know, if you don't have beer, what do they serve at AA meetings? I think they serve coffee. I actually was at a temp assignment at the Mercy Housing where they had an AA meeting, and I think they were serving a lot of coffee. They deal with a lot of people, you know.
I have my coffee every morning.
Yeah, so you and people who are in AA, that's what they do.
Right.
So I just figured it's you know, a good drink to promote.
So will you quit your job if you end up winning Senate?
Yeah, my job's terrible. That would not make no sense to keep my job.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And what are some of the first things you would do, like as far as changing things or legislation you might want to introduce?
Well, I was just talking about, I just had my DOT physical, which I passed today. I got a 2-year DOT physical from this chiropractor. So that would be certainly something I want to work on, is getting rid of DOT physicals, which they're going to hate that. Like whoever the people are who hate on vax would completely hate on getting rid of any type of DOT physical requirement. I mean, they're going to say, oh, it's protecting, it's,
we want to eat.
So
Oh, no.
that, just personally, as somebody with a trucking license, I always find that to be, it's a lot like when they used to have all the HMOs would discriminate based on a pre-existing condition. You'd fill out the form. They still do that for truckers, pretty similar. It doesn't really get into your family. It just talks about, have you ever had a beer? Have you ever had a cigarette? Have you ever any possible thing? So if anybody who is elected ever had a trucking license, they might also be offended, but the fact is they probably have no idea what it is or that it exists. So that would be one thing where it's like, you know, if I wanted to do that, they're not going to get, you know, the only group really that's reached out to me is y'all. You sent me a friend request, and then a few of your friends sent me friend requests. I haven't really had any other, I mean, groups who are supportive of, I'm going to buy a shirt, or, you know, people kind of are like, do something for me, come do SB 562 canvassing for me. That's not really doing much. It's like, oh, don't wear your shirt while you're doing it. So, you know, I was like, oh, I just got this condo, it's got a place to meet, come to the condo, we'll meet at this, oh, we can't do that because, like, there's some legal reason why it can't be done. So
what have you learned about the vaccine issue? Because I know you've just been dabbling a little bit.
Yeah, well, I bought Vaxxed, and then I moved, so I don't have high-speed internet, and then my phone, it's like doesn't really, like, I'll be at work, and then I get out of work and it's not charged, so I can't just, you know, I was like, oh, I should go to the store and download it, whatever. So I haven't watched it. I did read the Cliff Notes, so I basically, because I was listening to some audiobooks I had gotten on the issue, which deal with all vaccines, and it sounded like.
Do you remember what the titles of some of those books are?
It was like every audiobook available on Audible, so I just bought all of them.
Callous Disregard was one of them.
Yeah, I think the one that I was listening to mainly was the vaccine book. That was pretty center of the road. So, but they're just saying, you know, let's talk about every single vaccine, and then all various aspects of that. So, Vaxxed really is more focused on one vaccine. It sounded like
one study of one vaccine. Yeah.
This book was doing every single vaccine. So, but no, I'm down with choice. You know, like a lot of, especially like as an adult, I find it pretty offensive that the government's going to say, like, let's say if I win the election, I want to go to law school, and they're going to say, prove to me that you have had all your vaccines. Or like, let's say I want to be a professor, they're going to say, prove to us that you've had all your vaccines so you can set foot in this classroom. And yet, if I'm a gas station clerk, like I used to be a gas station clerk, and I'm dispensing thousands of dollars in cash, you know, or like these guys working the bar, doing all this cash, they don't have to prove anything, you know. The disease is not getting spread. This is the fact. There's little risk. And it's like, are the vaccines more risky than the risk? So, I mean, the basic thing is the book's talking, the audiobook I mainly was listening to, you know, I kind of have a short attention span, not like actually ADD, but, you know, probably not dealing with the issue. Just drink some more coffee or whatever, but...
Do you get vaccinated as an adult? Do you get flu shots or anything like that?
No, I don't.
Is there a reason why not?
Just don't want to do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, unfortunately, I need to figure out, I did have a problem at my last college in Maine where they had actually were kicking me out of the school because I had lost my proof of the vaccinations. But I had actually graduated with a bachelor's degree from the University of Southern Maine, so I obviously had the vaccinations, but because they had a mandate there in Maine, that I was like, you know, it ended up where I had lost my job, so I stopped taking classes and I went to the trucking school, and for some reason, I was in Massachusetts, and for some reason, they had me do a DOT physical and a drug test, it was like the opposite of regular school in that way. So they didn't do the vaccine question. They just said, piss in a cup, basically, and did the DOT physical. So, and I passed that. But that would be, to me, I don't mind, you know, like a truck driving company doing a drug test. I mean, that's one issue, but there's other stuff. I think it's played out.
So for SB 277, the law that PAN got passed, where it says that all children need to be vaccinated in order to attend public school. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with that law?
Well, it's no, but it sounds like you had to prove or claim a religious exemption. So I would say, why make people claim a religious exemption? Why not just have it be completely a choice and pass a new law where it's a decision? Because 98% of people are going to go get vaccinated on their own, and you have somebody like yourself, other people, that believe in vaxxed and whatnot, won't have to do it, and people can go to school. I'm an adult. I don't want to go get vaccinated for my vaccinations. I can go to school. I could go be a professor without getting harassed about something that's really irrelevant. Have I had a Hep B shot? Well, there is no AIDS vaccine. So really, and why would you want... I heard they were talking about this audiobook. They were saying the Hep B vaccine, they started giving that to babies because of parents who are prostitutes. And, we can't figure out who's a prostitute, so let's just vaccinate all babies for Hep B. Or some, because of mother's milk, or who knows. To me, it's a great thing for Pan to work his second job that's, and then never do anything but talk about vaccine mandates. But I would rather just, I would personally, you convinced me, I would personally propose, I probably need another, I don't know how it works, I assume I need another person, whatever, to propose something to get, so there's no mandate, people would still go get vaccinated. I just saw at Walmart, they had a big sign, get your MMR vaccine at Walmart. And so it might be the alien invasion, but maybe it's some sort of conspiracy. You always got to question Walmart if they are actually part of, in 22 states, I believe, Walmart is the #1 employer. They could easily turn out to be my buddy, when I was in elementary school, my buddy who was in middle school was writing a short story on the Walmart alien conspiracy. So, I digress.
Do you know what autism is?
Not thoroughly.
Or Asperger's, autism?
Yeah, like you would take blocks and line them up, or I'm not exactly sure. I'm more of a studied economist and truck driver. I'm not really a medical person.
Anything else you want to talk about or tell people about you and why they should vote for you?
I got the website, jacob-mason.com. So I made that myself and did all the writing, except I did pay some ghost writers who, one of the guys, he said he was in Europe, and the next thing I know, he's from somewhere in Africa. So a few of the, some of that stuff needed a lot of editing, should I say, is really mainly me, even though I got some ghost writers. But and I got a lot of positions on there. I'm really trying not to add much more. I've edited a couple times, but it's still pretty rough, and I think it's so long, I don't know if people really want to do that much reading. I certainly wouldn't blame them. I don't like to keep editing it myself, and reading it. At this point, I've already edited it a couple times, but
What about Facebook? Where do they find you on Facebook?
There's a link somewhere on my website to my Facebook and my Twitter, and I got my phone number and my email if they want to contact me and complain or whatever. And you send me spam from Russia saying, phishing my passwords. That is like every day recently. Right. I got your website isn't this official phishing scam that verified. So I assume that's because I gave out my email on my website. But it's just I don't have it memorized for but there's a link. Somewhere on the website.
I'll put the link in the video.
It's hard to edit the website. I went on Fiverr and I got somebody to edit the template for like 30 bucks.
Yeah.
And it's just, then I was like, okay, we're taking away your permission. That's good enough. So that was, the entire web design costs 30 bucks. And it looks like it costs maybe 30 bucks, but I do pay for the web hosting, so that's, a little bit every month.
And was there anybody who kind of nudged you, like, to run for Senate that said, that might be a great idea to run?
No, everybody told me not to do it, actually, to be honest. So, no, absolutely not. Which is probably why I've gotten no donations, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Because it's the opposite. Once they hear that I don't have the, Democratic Party platform, they immediately close their wallets and go the other way. I'm hoping, just from talking to people in real life who aren't, the handful of insiders who really, look at, are we going to endorse somebody, this type of thing, I think my platform should be good. And a lot of people don't vote, so I'm hoping to get votes from people who might not vote somehow. But I don't have money for mailers, so I'm hoping the signs somehow really stay up and people see them. Or they search the internet for. I got the Press Herald, supposed to be in the voter's guide. I got the League of Women Voters. I filled out like a brief. Top 3 positions, gave them a photo, and I'm going to be doing like Vote USA or which probably is really obscure and nobody uses, but the other 2 seem to be maybe a good thing, because I wasn't able to do the $5,000 candidate statement. I didn't have the $5,000 to do that. Bennett made it sound like that was a requirement. That is absolutely not a requirement. He likes to talk about how it costs $6,000 to run. It costs $1,000. I've never seen the candidate statement, so I don't even know what it is. They still haven't sent it out yet. But I think they got to get rid of that thing if it's not going to be free, because it is. That's called a plutocracy. It's bad enough with 1,000. I mean, the 5,000, it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be encouraging to create a plutocracy.
I think, if anything, Austin should be taking advice from you, because you are going to be on the ballot and Austin Bennett is not.
Yeah, he should, but he blocked me, so.
All right. Well, I have to say, I'm so glad you didn't listen to your friends or your workmates, the people that told you not to run. I'm glad that you decided to do what you felt like doing.
Yeah.
And it was really, really glad. I'm really glad to meet you, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Good. Okay. This is one of the most violent video games of all time. You ever play Dig Dug? That thing is R-rated. I don't think this is how a shotgun actually works.